the string, pull the string!
Scoodly, wow, wow, wow.
Bay Area Backstage.
Bay Area Backstage on location at the Creatures Con as part of the Big Wow Comic Fest.
Can you feature that awful creature? Can you feature that ugly creature? Creature features and feature features about creatures. Creature features. Now the strangest thing about this show or two is its host, Bob Wilkins, and he brings it to you. Features and creature features and more creatures and more features. And the creature gonna get you tonight. You better not turn out your bedroom lights. He'll grab your head and give it such a bite. You may even die from just a fright. Ain't nothing gonna be, baby, I say be alright. Cause the creature gonna get you, baby. He gonna get you.
Welcome to Channel 2's version of Saturday Night Fever.
Creature Features Live, backed by popular demand. Creature Features Live, hosted by John Stanley. Presented just as Creature Features was back in the early 80s, but on stage rather than on television.
Of course, I watched the show when I was a lot younger, when it came on in '71 on KTVU, and then watched it all the way through. Bob Wilkins and then John Stanley took over the show in '79, and watched it all the way until John left the show in 1984. It was great because VCRs came in, obviously in early 80s, so I was able to tape some of the shows, which I wasn't so lucky with Bob's shows, so there's very few of them that survived. But anyway, last year we did Creature Features Live here, and we showed Horror Express, and it was a lot of fun and very successful, so we decided to do one tonight. And John is here, and he wants to introduce the movie. So here's John Stanley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thanks for joining us again, because tonight we're going to make Creature Feature history, just as Bob Wilkins did back in 1971, the first year that his show was on the air, because one night he played an uncut version of Night of the Living Dead, and it was phenomenal because not even the executives thought that the uncut film would ever be shown. They figured, oh, there's someone will cut out all of the bloody moments. No. Well, the executives weren't too upset because the ratings were so high for Bob. You might recall he was in prime time at 9 o'clock, but not at 11 o'clock when the show first started. So, I want to try to duplicate that tonight, Tom. That great moment of success when an audience could see Night of the Living Dead in an unedited format. Now, the man who created Night of the Living Dead is George Romero. That is the name of the director. That's the name that we'll always associate with that particular production. And I want to explain that it all starts in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. George Romero owns a small production company that specializes in industrial films. There's another small company in the same area. They join ranks. They decide, let's get together and try to raise some money to make a horror picture. And 9 people agree of these groups to put up each $10,000. So he's got $90,000 to start with to get his film into production. And the total production will be $114,000. He'll have to raise a little more along the way. But the film will be finished. It will be released. and it will be immediately successful. A low-budget movie making millions of dollars at the box office. Now, in 1978, only a short time before I auditioned for the Creature Feature show, I had the pleasure of meeting George Romero. There was a film of his coming out called Martin. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember Martin. No.
That's about a young boy who thinks he's a vampire. Anyway, I had the opportunity to sit and talk to George, and I wanted to share some direct quotes because I think it really sheds insight into how he was thinking about being a filmmaker, in particular being a film editor. Editing was one of the hallmarks of his work. And isn't it amazing when we consider that after Night of the Living Dead, we had so many other Living Dead movies: Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead. There were other films too. Night Riders, which was not a monster movie, but a story about modern knights. You'll have to see it to believe it. He considered it one of his most unusual films. It only did fair at the box office. There was also Creepshow and its sequel with Stephen King. He got to work with Stephen King. A film called The Crazies, Hungry Wives, Monkey Shines. And also, do you realize he was responsible for 77 episodes of Tales from the Dark Side? Think about that, just 77 half-hour episodes. Okay, during my interview with George Romero, I wanted him to open up and tell me, how do you really feel about the work that you're doing? And he said, Night of the Living Dead made most of its money in its initial release through Walter Reed Releasing Company. But it had an afterlife. It kept coming back and attracted the critics and turned into a phenomenon. Unfortunately, I don't know if you know this, at some point years later, he would not renew the copyright. Someone would forget to do that. And the film fell into public domain and without any payments going to George Romero. Here's what he said: to have people recognize that and put me in a category with other film greats was a very gratifying experience. Yes, I've always been paranoid about being typecast as a horror director. I knew I had an affinity for the genre, though, but I didn't want to spend the rest of my life trapped there. Well, that sounds kind of strange when you consider the horror films that he went on to make. Well, I said, now that Dawn of the Dead is playing around in some parts of the world, do you feel trapped? He said, by no means. I'm glad I made Dawn of the Dead because I think it's going to lead to bigger and better things, and of course, it did. He admitted that afternoon that we talked that editing film was really what I'm all about. It's what I do best. I don't study film a great deal, no. I improvise at the moviola once I have the finished footage and try to find texture. I search for a way to express myself that's different. I never cut in my head when I'm shooting. I'd much rather seek a tempo that will excite or calm down an audience. That's interesting, to calm down. So he wants to be in complete control of your emotions throughout one of his stories. You can accomplish more through editing than any other phase of filmmaking. I asked him to talk for a moment about The Crazies, the 1973 film that he made, for it had just been turned over to a brand new distributor who had sold it to 8 foreign countries and to television. The Crazies, he told me, was the best film in terms of shattering time and space through editing. It's the one film I've done that emerged on celluloid exactly as I had conceived it in my head. And that is something that all filmmakers should try to obtain. Well, I think, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and Tom, worst, it's time for us to turn to the unedited version of Night of the Living Dead, just as Bob Wilkins presented it back in 1971.
Yeah, and we're going to see it as it was presented in 1982 with 1982 commercials, trailers, and And the other interesting thing was Bob presented it for the first time in 1972 on New Year's Day. So any of you that remember seeing it for the first time and were scared like hell after it was all over, I don't remember it being New Year's Day, but it was. It was New Year's Day.
I saw that on TV and I was 11, and I remember my parents were out because it was a holiday, so I was there by myself. And I'd never seen that version. Terrified, and I spent the next hour like making sure all the doors and windows were shut because I was seeing that.
Right. Yeah, so this is going to be exactly as it would have been shown in 1982, which was a few years ago, right? So we'll see you after the show. See you at intermission.
All you have to do is travel back through time to the year of Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. You remember that year, 1982. So enjoy it and be a part of Creature Feature history.
They ought to make the day the time changes, the first day of summer.
What?
Well, it's 8 o'clock and it's still light.
A lot of good the extra daylight does us. Now, we've still got a 3-hour drive back. We're not going to be home until after midnight.
Well, if it really bugged you, Johnny, you wouldn't do it.
You think I want to blow Sunday on a scene like this? You know, I figure we're either going to have to move Mother out here or move the grave into Pittsburgh.
She can't make a trip like this.
Oh, you know that she can't. Is there any of that candy left?
No.
Look at this thing. We still remember. I don't. You know, I don't even remember what the man looks like.
Johnny, it takes you 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes to put the wreath on the grave and 6 hours to drive back and forth. Mother wants to remember, so we trot 200 miles into the country and she stays at home.
Well, we're here, John, all right?
Test. We're back on? Oh. Ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen, we're coming back on the air after an interruption due to technical problem.
There's nothing wrong with the radio. Must have been the station.
Which row is it in?
Well, there's no one around.
Well, it's late. If you'd gotten up earlier.
Oh, look, I already lost an hour's sleep when the time changed.
I think you complain just to hear yourself talk. There it is.
I wonder what happened to the one from last year. Each year we spend good money on these things. We come out here and the one from last year's gone.
Well, the flowers die, and the caretaker or somebody takes them away.
Yeah, a little spit and polish, you can clean this up. Sell it next year. Wonder how many times we bought the same one. Hey, come on, Barb. Church was this morning, huh? Hey, I mean, praying's for church, huh? Come on.
I haven't seen you in church lately.
Well, there's not much sense in my going to church. Do you remember one time when we were small, we were out here? It was from right over there, I jumped out at you from behind the tree, and Grandpa got all excited, and he shook his fist at me, and he said, "Boy, you be damned to hell." Remember that? Right over there. Well, you used to really be scared here.
Johnny.
You're still afraid.
Stop it now, I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny. Oh, no! No! Johnny! Help
Thank you.
All right. Don't worry about him. I can handle him. Probably be a lot more of them as soon as they find out about us. The truck is out of gas. This pump out here is locked. Is there a key? We can try to get out of here if we can get some gas. Is there a key? I suppose you've tried this. Do you live here? Jesus. We've got to get out of here. We have to get to where there's some other people. Maybe we better take some food. I'll see if I can find some food.
What's happening?
How do you think it's happening?
What's happening?
Two of them. There are two of them out there. Have you seen any more around here? I can take care of those two.
I don't
I know you're afraid, but we have
I
to...
don't know! I don't know! What's happening?
They know we're in here now. Don't look at it.
more lights on in this house.
I guess the driver must have cut off the road into that gas station by Beekman's Diner. It went right through the billboard, ripped over a gas pump, and never stopped moving. By now, it's like a moving bonfire. By now, there were no more screams. I realized that I was alone with 50 or 60 of those things, just standing there, staring at me. I started to drive. I just plowed right through them. They didn't move, they didn't run or just stood there staring at me. Just wanted to crush them. They scattered through the air like bugs.
We were riding in the cemetery, Johnny and me. Johnny. We came to put a wreath on my father's grave. Johnny, and he said, "Can I have some candy, Barbara?" And we didn't have any. And, oh, it's hot in here. Hot. And he said, "Oh, it's late. Why did we start so late?" And I said, "Johnny, if you'd gotten up earlier, we wouldn't be late." Johnny asked me if I were afraid. And I said, "I'm not afraid, Johnny." And then this man started walking up the road. He came slowly, and Johnny kept teasing me and saying, "He's coming to get you, Barbara." And I laughed at him and said, "Johnny, stop it." And then Johnny ran away. And I went up to this man, and I was going to apologize.
Why don't you just keep calm?
And I looked up, and I said, "Good evening." And he grabbed me. He grabbed me, and he ripped at me. He held me, and he ripped at my clothes.
I think you should just calm down.
Oh, I screamed, "Johnny! Johnny, help me! Oh, help me!" And he wouldn't let me go. He ripped. And then Johnny came and he ran and he fought this man. And I got so afraid. I ran. And Johnny didn't come. We have to wait for Johnny. We better go out and get him. We have to go out and get Johnny. He's out there. Please, don't you hear me? We've got to go out and get him. Please! We have got to go get Johnny! Please help me! Please!
Don't you know what's going on out there? This is no Sunday school picnic.
Don't you understand? My brother is alone!
Your brother is dead.
No! My brother is not dead! Oh. Oh.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments. At this hour, we repeat, these are the facts as we know them. There is an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. The murders are taking place in villages, cities, rural homes, and suburbs with no apparent pattern or reason for the slayings. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. We have some descriptions of the assassins. Eyewitnesses say they are ordinary-looking people. Some say they appear to be in a kind of trance. Others describe them as being... Ladies and gentlemen, we've just received word that the President has called a meeting of his cabinet to deal with the sudden epidemic of murder which has seized the eastern third of this nation. The meeting is scheduled to convene within the hour. Members of the presidential cabinet will be joined by officials of the FBI and the Joint Chiefs behind closed doors. Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murder. Repeating this latest bulletin just received moments ago from Cumberland, Maryland, civil defense authorities have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers. Medical examination of victims' bodies shows conclusively that the killers are eating the flesh of the people they kill. And so this incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. It's difficult to imagine such a thing actually happening, but these are the reports we have been receiving and passing on to you, reports which have been verified as completely as is possible in this confused situation. It is happening, and it would appear that no one is safe from this wave of mass murder.
Don't shoot. We're from town. A radio.
County, Pennsylvania. The Butler County Sheriff has verified that reports of murder victims being partially eaten by their slayers is true. No further details available at this time. However,
How long you guys been down there? I could use some help up here.
That's the cellar. It's the safest place.
You mean you didn't hear the racket we were making up here?
How were we supposed to know what was going on? Could have been those things for all we knew.
That girl was screaming. Sure, you must know what a girl screaming sounds like. Those things don't make any noise. Anybody would know somebody if needed help.
Look, it's kind of hard to hear what's going on from down there.
We thought we could hear screams, but for all we knew, that could have meant those things were in the house afterward.
And you wouldn't come up and help?
Well, if there were more...
The racket sounded like the place was being ripped apart. How were we supposed to know what was going on?
Now, wait a minute. You just got finished saying you couldn't hear from down there. Now you say it sounded like the place was being ripped apart. It would be nice if you get your story straight, man.
All right, now you tell me. I'm not going to take that kind of a chance when we got a safe place. We luck into a safe place, and you're telling us we got to risk our lives just because somebody might need help, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, why don't we settle this?
Look, mister, we came up. Okay, we're here. Now I suggest we all go back downstairs before any of those things find out we're in here.
They can't get in here.
You got the whole place boarded up?
Yeah, most of it. All but a few spots upstairs. They won't be hard to fix.
You're insane. The cellar's the safest place.
I'm telling you, they can't get in here.
And I'm telling you, those things turned over our car. We were damn lucky to get away at all. Now you tell me those things can't get through this lousy pile of wood?
His wife and kids downstairs. The kid's hurt.
Well, I still think we're better off up here.
We could strengthen everything up, Mr. Cooper.
With all of us working, we could fix this place up in no time. We have everything we need up here.
We can take all that stuff downstairs with us. Man, you're really crazy, you know that? You got 1,000,000 windows up here. All these windows, you're gonna make them strong enough to keep these things out, huh?
I told you those things don't have any strength. I smashed 3 of them and pushed another one out the door.
Did you hear me when I told you they turned over our car?
Oh, hell, any good 5 men can do that.
That's my point. Only there's not going to be 5 or even 10. There's going to be 20, 30, maybe 100 of those things. And as soon as they know we're here, this place is going to be crawling with them.
Well, if there are that many, they'll probably get us wherever we are.
Look, the cellar. The cellar, there's only one door, right? Just one door, that's all we have to protect. Tom and I fixed it so it locks and boards from the inside. But up here, all these windows, why, we'd never know where they were going to hit us next.
You got a point, Mr. Cooper. But down in the cellar, there's no place to run to. I mean, if they did get in, there'd be no back exit. We'd be done for. We can get out of here if we have to. And we got windows to see what's going on outside. But down there with no windows, if a rescue party did come, we wouldn't even know it.
But the cellar is the strongest place.
The cellar is a death trap.
I don't know, Mr. Cooper. I think he's right. You know how many's out there?
I don't know. Maybe 6 or 7.
Look, you two can do whatever you like. I'm going back down to the cellar, and you better decide. Because I'm going to board up that door, and I'm not going to unlock it again no matter what happens.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Cooper.
No, I'm not going to wait. I've made my decision, now you make yours.
Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this. We can make it to the cellar if we have to. And if we do decide to stay down there, we'll need some things from up here. So let's at least consider this a while.
If you box yourself in this cellar and those things get in the house, you've had it. At least up here you have a fighting chance.
Yeah, it looks like about 8 or 10 out there now.
There's more than there were. There are a lot out back, too.
It's all right.
We gotta fix these boards.
You're crazy. Those things are going to be at every window and door in this place. We've got to get down into the cellar.
Go down in your damn cellar. Get out of here!
I'm taking the girl with me.
You leave her here. Keep your hands off her. And everything else that's up here, too. Because if I stay up here, I'm fighting for everything up here. And the radio and the food is part of what I'm fighting for. Now, if you're going down the cellar, get.
The man's insane. He's insane. We've got to have food down there. We've got a right.
This is your house.
We've got a right.
You going down there with him?
Well,
yes or no? This is your last chance. No beating around the bush.
Listen, I got a kid down there. She can't possibly, I couldn't bring her up here. She can't possibly take all the racket and those things smashing through the windows.
Well, you're her father. If you're stupid enough to go die in that trap, that's your business. However, I am not stupid enough to follow you. It is tough for the kid that her old man is so stupid. Now, you get the hell down in the cellar. You can be the boss down there. I'm boss up here.
You bastards. You know, I won't open this door again. I mean it.
Mr. Cooper, with your help, we could...
With my help.
Let him go, man. His mind is made up. Just let him go.
Wait a minute. Judy, come on up here, honey.
You're gonna let them get hurt too, huh?
It's all right, honey. Go ahead.
He's wrong, you know. I'm not boxing myself in down there.
This radio station will remain on the air day and night.
Well, we're safe now. It's boarded up tight.
What about Tom and Judy?
They want to stay up there, let them. There are two other people upstairs, a man and a girl.
We heard you screaming.
Yeah, but I didn't know who they were, and I wasn't about to take any unnecessary chances.
Of course not, Harry.
Let them stay upstairs. Let them. Too many ways those monsters can get in up there. We'll see who's right. We'll see when they come begging me to let them in down here.
That's important, isn't it?
What?
To be right, everybody else to be wrong.
What do you mean by that?
Does anyone up there know why we're being attacked?
Whatever it isn't just happening here. It's some kind of mass murder. It's going on everywhere. The radio said to stay inside.
Radio?
Radio upstairs. I heard a news bulletin.
There's a radio upstairs and you boarded us in down here?
I know what I'm doing.
What did it say?
Nothing. Nothing. They don't know anything yet. There's mass murder everywhere, and people are supposed to look for a safe place to hide.
Mr. Cooper, Ben found a television set upstairs.
Let's go up. Tom?
Yeah.
If Judy would come downstairs for a few minutes, Harry and I could come upstairs.
Okay, yeah, right away. Will you do it?
Do I have to?
Look, honey, nothing's gonna get done with them down there and us up here. Do this for me.
Okay.
Okay, open up.
I'll take good care of her, Helen. She's all I have.
Her brother was killed.
Hey, give me a hand with this thing.
I gotta go help Ben with the television.
Don't be afraid of me. I'm Helen Cooper, Harry's wife.
This place is ridiculous. Look at this. There's a million weak spots up here. Give me one of those.
Her brother was killed.
And they talk about these windows. I can't see a damn thing. There could be 50 million of those things out there. That's how much good these windows are.
Here I have it. Drag a couple of those chairs together.
There's a socket over here.
You better watch this and try to understand what's going on. I don't want anyone's life on my hands.
Is there anything I can do to
I don't want to hear any more from you, mister. If you stay up here, you take orders from me. And that includes leaving the girl alone.
It's on, it's on.
There's no sound. Play with the rabbit ears.
Reports, incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria. What do they think? We're imagining all this?
Shut up! In all parts of the country. We're just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed, and we're able to report a definite course of action for you. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen.
Well, Tom, what do you think so far?
Well, it's just like I remember it, but where'd all the damn crickets come from? I don't know. They're in the house and there's crickets all in the house. Did somebody add that, Tom?
I think he's hearing things. Hey, there was a little Bob Logan story I'd like to share with you. You know, when Bob first started doing creature features, he would occasionally have me as a guest on the show, and therefore we became friends. And of course, I also covered his new show in the San Francisco Chronicle. But anyway, he would let me borrow 16mm films from Channel 2, and I could take them home and look at them. And one time he allowed me to take Night of the Living Dead, the unedited version. And I still remember to this day, my son Russ went around to all the neighborhood kids and told them, come to the house at a certain time, we're going to screen Night of the Living Dead. The place was full of people. I had a 16mm projector set up in the front room. And to this day, I still find neighbors who remember that moment and, hey, John, remember the Night of the Living Dead at your house? It was a great, great moment. What? Tom? What? Who is this? Someone you know? One of your relatives. This is one of your relatives, Tom.
Not mine. Just ignore him.
Are you sure we should ignore him? You don't think he might be deadly?
Not sure.
Hey, one of the things I really like about this movie is the performance by Judith O'Dea, the heroine. And back in 2009, ladies and gentlemen, we had the Creature Feature Night at AT&T Park. Even the Giants moved aside. So that night we could go out on the field and project the film to a very large segment of our audience, fandom. And Judith O'Dea was our special guest, and she flew down from LA, and she and I went out on the field, and we did an interview together. And I believe, Tom, that you have some footage of this special event.
Yeah, got a small clip here we're going to run, and they had some great T-shirts that night too. Some people still have them. So here's the Creature Features night at Giant Stadium.
There we go. There we go.
That was the noisiest damn projector that they had there at the park, though. It was unbelievable. One of the cool things was that we got to go down in the field, and you could bring a blanket down in the outfield and sit and watch it. And the diamond vision at the park was just unbelievably bright and clear. I've never ever seen this movie any brighter and clearer than it was on that screen. Unbelievable, because usually you're seeing it on a projected screen, and that's like a gigantic TV. It was really cool.
Okay, shall we get started and return?
Yeah, do you want to question? Any questions for this guy?
Yeah, sir, can you give us a little bit of background?
Yeah, I tell you, John, old boy, it's something like this, my good man. It's a harrowing experience digging yourself out of a grave 6 feet under, my good man. Telling you, it's just terribly harrowing. One I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy, my good man. Thank you very much for having me here.
Well, we dig you the most.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I see, now back to our pizza.
Okay, we'll be back.
We do.
The broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
So we have that truck. We can get some gas, we can get out of here.
There's a pump out by the shed.
I know, that's why I pulled in here, but it's locked.
Called this afternoon by the President. Since convening this conference of the Presidential Cabinet, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the CIA has not produced any public information. Why are space experts being consulted about an earthbound emergency? So far, all the betting on the answer to that question centers on the recent Explorer satellite shot to Venus. That satellite, you'll recall, started back to Earth, but never got here. That's the space vehicle which orbited Venus and then was purposely destroyed by NASA when scientists discovered it was carrying a mysterious high-level radiation with it. Could that radiation be somehow responsible for the wholesale murders we're now suffering? Newsman Don Quinn in Washington has posed those questions.
It's obvious our best move is to try to get out of here.
How are you going to get over to that pump? Look!
You're coming from a meeting regarding the explosion of the Venus probe, is that right?
Yes, that was the subject of the meeting.
You feel there is a connection between this and the phenomenon?
There's a definite connection.
In other words, you feel that the radiation on the Venus probe is enough to cause these mutations?
There was a very high degree of radiation.
Well, just a minute. I'm not sure that that's certain at all. I don't think that has been
logical explanation that
proved.
we have at this time.
In other words, it is the military's viewpoint that the radiation is not the cause of the mutation.
I can't speak for the entire military at this time, gentlemen. I must disagree with these gentlemen presently until this is irrefutably proved.
Everything is being done that can be done.
We'll have to hurry for our next meeting.
Professor, you feel that there is a definite connection between them?
Definite connection as far as Dr. Keller and myself.
Doctor, please. I thought we decided that is not proved yet.
Was the satellite, when the satellite was exploded?
An unusual amount of radiation, enough to cause mutation under certain circumstances.
Could have happened.
Have a bearing on it.
It does seem to have a bearing.
Will there be a reply for this further?
Later?
Yes.
There will be a reply.
Yes.
Later this afternoon. There will be a report this afternoon.
Perhaps there will be a report.
Yes.
A
Later.
full report. Will you close the window?
We are doing everything possible to solve the problem.
We're hoping to get some further explanation of this.
We've heard all we need to know. We have to try to get out of here.
He said the rescue stations have doctors and medical supplies. If we could get Karen there, we could get help for her.
Romero is one of the world's foremost authorities on space science and technology.
Willard. I saw a sign that said Willard.
It's only about 17 miles from here.
You know this area. You from around here?
Judy and I are both from around here. We were on our way up to the lake to go swimming. And Judy had a radio, and we'd heard the first reports about this. So we knew the old house was here, and we came in and found the lady upstairs dead. Then these other people came. We went down into the basement and put a bar across the door, and it is pretty strong.
How could we possibly get away from here? We've got a sick child, 2 women, 1 woman out of her head, 3 men, and the place is surrounded with these things.
For NASA. Dr. Grimes, your entire staff, I know, has been working very hard to find some solution to these things that are happening. Do you have any answers at this time?
Yes, we have some answers. But first, let me stress the importance of seeking medical attention for anyone who's been injured in any way. We don't know yet what complications might result from such injuries.
How bad has your kid been hurt?
Good advice, Doctor. Now, how about the basic problem of patients? Well,
Look, you go down there and tell, Judy? Yeah, you tell Judy to come up here and you stay with the kid, all right?
Action taken with regard to the Venus probe. In the cold room at the university, we had a cadaver from which all 4 limbs had been amputated. Sometime early this morning, it opened its eyes and began to move its trunk. It was dead, but it opened its eyes and tried to move.
They want you upstairs. Did she ask for me?
She hasn't said anything.
I don't understand. Baby. It's Mommy.
I heard. I'll come back down as soon as I find out what they want.
Thank you, Judy.
The body should be disposed of at once, preferably by cremation.
well, how long after death, then, does the body become reactivated?
It's only a matter of minutes.
Minutes? Well, that doesn't give people time to make any arrangements.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't give them time to make funeral arrangements. The bodies must be carried to the street and burned. They must be burned immediately. Soak them with gasoline and burn them. The bereaved will have to forego the dubious comforts that a funeral service will give. They're just dead flesh and dangerous.
I see.
Judy, I need you to find some bedspreads or sheets to tear up into small strips, okay? Is there a fruit cellar here?
Yes.
We need some bottles or jars to make Molotov cocktails and hold them off while we try to escape.
Hey, there's a big can of kerosene down there.
I'll see what I can find.
I'll look for the bottles.
There's a big key ring down there. There may be a key to the gas pump on it.
I'll check.
We can toss the cocktails from a window upstairs. Meantime, a couple of us can go out and try to get the gas and come back for the rest of the people.
But that'll leave a door open someplace.
Yeah, that's right. It better be this door. It's closer to the truck. Before we go out, we'll put some supplies behind the cellar door. While we're gone, the rest of you can hold up in there.
I found some fruit jars in the cellar. And there's a key on here that's labeled for the gas pump out back.
I'm not really that used to the truck. I found it abandoned.
I can handle the truck, no sweat.
You're it, then. You and I'll go. We'll put whatever lumber we find behind the cellar door. You can go upstairs and toss the cocktails from a window. Tom, you and I will have to unboard this door. After you toss the cocktails, you hustle back down here and lock this door. It's no good to board it up because we'll have to get back in quickly. After we get the gas and get back into the house, then we'll worry about getting everybody into the truck. Now let's move it.
Except to the rest.
You always have a smile for me. How can you smile like that all the time? How many do you have done? Come on, honey, we gotta move.
Tom, are you sure about the phone?
The phone is dead out. All you get is a recorded message.
We better get her downstairs.
We have to go downstairs now, Barbara.
She's right. You have to go downstairs now, just for a little while, until we get back. Then we can all leave.
Oh, I'd like to leave. Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah.
You ready upstairs? Yeah. Okay, toss them.
coming, come on! Get in!
This key won't work.
Watch out. Watch the torch.
We gotta get away from the pump. Hang on.
Tom, drive your crazy, get out of the truck!
Let's get out of here. Come on, come on.
My jacket's gone.
Drag you out there and feed you those things.
Isn't it 3 o'clock yet? There's supposed to be another broadcast at 3 o'clock.
10 minutes.
Oh, only 10 more minutes? We don't have very long to wait. We can leave. Well, we better leave soon. It's 10 minutes to 3.
You know anything about this area at all? I mean, is Willard the nearest town?
I don't know. We were just trying to get to a motel before dark.
You said those things turned your car over. You think we can get it back on its wheels and drive it? Where is it?
Seems like it was pretty far away. Seems like we ran.
Forget it. It's at least a mile.
Johnny has the keys.
You're gonna carry that child a mile through that army of things out there?
I can carry the kid. What's wrong with her? How'd she get hurt?
One of those things grabbed her.
Bit her on the arm.
What's wrong?
Who knows what kind of disease those things carry? Is she conscious?
Barely.
She can't walk. She's too weak.
Well, one of us could try to get to the car.
You gonna turn it over by yourself?
You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.
You have a car? Where? Where is it?
You won't be able to start it.
Yeah, I know. But where is it?
Good Lord.
Being monitored closely by scientists at all the radiation detection stations. At this hour, they report the level of the mysterious radiation continues to increase steadily. So long as this situation remains, government spokesmen warn that dead bodies will continue to be transformed into the flesh-eating ghouls. All persons who die during this crisis, from whatever cause, will come back to life to seek human victims unless their bodies are first disposed of by cremation. Our news cameras have just returned from covering such a search and destroy operation against the ghouls, this one conducted by Sheriff Conan McClellan in Butler County, Pennsylvania. So now let's go to that film report. All law enforcement agencies and the military have been organized to search out and destroy the marauding ghouls. The Survival Command Center at the Pentagon has disclosed that a ghoul can be killed by a shot in the head or a heavy blow to the skull. Officials are quoted as explaining that since the brain of a ghoul has been activated by the radiation, the plan is kill the brain and you kill the ghoul.
Anything from the supply where I can cuss?
No, we're all right. Hey, Cass, put that thing all the way in the fire. We don't want it getting up again. All right, I got you.
Chief McClellan, how's everything going?
Oh, things aren't going too bad. Men are taking it pretty good. You want to get on the other side of the road over there?
Chief, do you think we'll be able to defeat these things?
Well, we killed 19 of them today right in this area. Those last 3 we caught trying to claw their way into an abandoned shed. They must have thought somebody was in there. There wasn't, though. We heard them making all kind of noise. We came over and beat them off, blasted them down.
Chief, as soon as you're finished, can I see you here?
Yeah, okay.
Chief, if I were surrounded by 6 or 8 of these things, would I stand a chance with them?
Well, there's no problem. If you had a gun, shoot them in the head. That's a sure way to kill them. If you don't, get yourself a club or a torch. Beat them or burn them. They go up pretty easy.
Well, Chief McClellan, how long do you think it will take you until you get the situation under control?
Well, that's pretty hard to say. We don't know how many of them there are. We know when we find them, we can kill them.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Well, in time, would you say you ought to be able to wrap this up in 24 hours?
Well, we don't really know. We know we'll be into it most of the night, probably into the early morning. We're working our way toward Willard, and we'll team up with the National Guard over there, and then we'll be able to give a more definite view.
Thank you very much, Chief McClellan. This is Bill Cardill, WIC TV 11 News.
Thank you, Bill, for that report. Official spokesman declined to speculate just how long it may take to kill off all the flesh eaters, so long as the heavy rain...
Is the fuse box in the cellar?
I don't know. It isn't the fuse. The power lines are down. Helen, I have to get that gun.
Haven't you had enough?
But 2 people are dead already on account of that guy. Take a look out that window. Get...
want to get about 4 or 5 men and a couple dogs. There's a house over here behind those trees. We want to go check it out.
Right.
You stay here, Bill.
Yeah, Chief, we're going to stay with it till we meet up with the National Guard.
Where'd you get the coffee?
One of the volunteers. You're doing all the work. You take it.
Thank you. We should be wrapped up here about 3 or 4 more hours, and we'll probably get into Willard then. I guess you can go over there and meet the National Guard. Nick, you and the rest of these men want to come with me?
Well, Bill, I'm check in the office, see what's happening.
All right, Steve. Tell them we're going to stay with it, and everything appears to be under control.
They need you down there by the barn. Some of these guys can follow the wagon down. I only need a few men to check out the house. Somebody had a cookout here, Vince.
Yeah, sure looks like it, Cal.
He's a dead one. Get up here. Nick, Tony, Steve, you want to get out in that field and build me a bonfire? You, drag that out of here and throw it on the fire.
Nothing down here.
All right, go ahead down and give him a hand. Let's go check out the house. Man.
There's something there. I heard a noise.
All right, Vince, hit him in the head, right between the eyes. Good shot. Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.
Send the wagon through directly ahead. Over.
Keep those dogs back off of those things.
Go more quickly. Please. Let's go, Master. That's the way.
Hey, Randy, light these torches over here.
People in the back. Way in the back.
feature that awful creature? Can you feature that ugly creature? Creature features and feature features about creatures. Creature features. Now the strangest thing about this show on tune is its host, Bob Wilkins, and he brings it to you. Features and creature features and more creatures and more features. And the creature gonna get you tonight. You better not turn out your bedroom lights. He'll grab your head and give it such a bite. You may even die from just a fright. Ain't nothing gonna be.
Destroy the humanoid. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Intruder must not escape.